Classic Italian-American lasagna. Today I'm going to show you a few tricks on how to make it perfect. One of those tricks is to have a really thick meat sauce, like the one we made in the first episode of this series. Also, the ricotta you want to strain overnight if you can, at least for 2 hours. Slice your polio, or whatever brand you like, mozzarella cheese, into about 1/8-inch slices. Regular mozzarella works better than fresh mozzarella for this recipe. As far as Parmigiano versus Pecorino Romano, use whichever you like. I'm going to use Pecorino Romano for this. Place strained ricotta into a large glass bowl or metal bowl, whatever you like, and remove the basil leaves from the large stem and discard that stem. You don't need that. It's not critical how finely you mince the herbs, but I recommend fairly small pieces. And put it all in the ricotta. Take about 1 teaspoon of salt, kosher salt, and about 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper to season the ricotta up. Mix that all around. You don't have to be super aggressive when you mix it, because you're still going to mix it some more. So we're going to take 2 eggs, crack them in a bowl so you don't contaminate if you had a bad egg. So beat them pretty well, and then pour it into the ricotta mixture. And now you can mix it a little bit more smooth. This is going to be one of the only times I tell you to oil your water, because it's going to prevent them from sticking, and which is very important. You're going to have to work in batches. You're going to mix the whole time, and then you're going to fish them out with a spider, or you can pour them into a colander. When you get them in the ice water bath, they'll be good to go, and then you're going to get them out. This is parchment paper on baking sheets. I have 3 of them over here, and that's going to allow them to not stick. They have to be separated before you start assembling your lasagna. The other way is, if you don't have parchment paper, dishcloths, clean dishcloths, lay them out. You can lay them all out on your counter or wherever, but you got to keep the lasagna noodles separated. Put 2 tablespoons of kosher salt into boiling water. A drop of olive oil, just a drop, it's all you need. And the water's boiling very, very well. And then put in 1 lasagna noodle at a time. This will prevent it from sticking together. Don't overload your pot. Do about 6 to 8, depending on how large pot is. Maybe you can fit in 10. And then stir right away. Just stir the whole time. You know, don't stop. You don't want these to stick, and they won't stick if you do this. You can take a pasta spider or a strainer and put it right in your ice water bath, and that's going to stop the cooking. And then you just grab them, and then they'll be flat. And then you lay them all out on your parchment paper, and you'll be totally set. All right, moving on to assembling the lasagna. Take a touch of olive oil, just a touch, like a teaspoon, and just wipe the bottom and the sides with the paper towel. Then take that thick, hearty meat sauce and put a big layer on the bottom, about 1/4 inch, maybe even 1/2 inch. This is going to prevent anything from sticking at the bottom, which is exactly what you want. These size pieces of lasagna will fit 6 to a layer in a standard 13 by 9 baking tray. So it's easy to think about it this way when you buy a box of lasagna. And you kind of overlap them, and they're going to overlap on the sides, and they're going to overlap in the center. And you get your first layer in. Perfect, just like that. And here's our ricotta mixture. So you think about it, you're going to have 3 layers, so you're going to basically divide everything into thirds. So take about 1/3 of the ricotta now and spread it all around. And if you have more ricotta left over, don't worry, because I'm going to show you something really good to do with it and to do with the leftover lasagna noodles. So I'm using a spatula and just spreading it all around, getting it all to the sides. And that's a pretty decent layer of ricotta there. Here's our mozzarella cheese. And we're going to take about a third of that too and layer it in there. And don't worry if you use a little too much on one layer or not enough. Nobody's going to know. Nobody's going to care. Everybody's going to love this. Trust me. They're going to love that you made this for them. So another really thick layer of meat sauce. This is why we made so much of that meat sauce in episode 1 of this series. This is episode 3 of the series. And I would say sprinkle about 2, 3, 4 tablespoons of Pecorino Romano here. Again, it's not going to matter if you don't do the exact amount. I try to instill that in all my videos here, that measurements are made to be broken. You don't have to follow everything exactly. And the more you learn to cook, the better you're going to get at knowing not just how much you like, but how much the people you cook for like. So again, we're going to put another layer of the lasagna noodles right on top. 6 of them again, overlapping. And then another hefty layer of that ricotta. And if you have a much deeper tray baking dish, you could build up 4 or 5 layers of this. Nothing is stopping you from only doing 3 layers. It's just basically you're limited by the size of the baking dish you're using. But a 13 by 9 is a really good standard baking dish for a whole family. This is going to get you a meal for 4, 5, 6 people. It'll definitely be enough. So we're just working it up again, all that sauce, more Pecorino Romano, and then the noodles. And I'm going, like I said, at the end, I'm going to show you what to do with those rest of those lasagna noodles. You guys know what it is already, right? Don't give it away, though. Mm-hmm. You know I told you, right?
Tomorrow's stuffed shells. This one is lasagna layers.
I know what it is. I know it's lasagna. Anyway, they're going to get out of here so I can continue. All right, yeah, I had a little interruption from the kids. They're always coming around, seeing what I'm making, and they were excited about this one. Lasagna is, it's not something you do all the time. It's, I guess, a kind of a special occasion thing. I'm building up that last layer with more of the sauce, pecorino, and mozzarella cheese. And that's looking great. So put a little bit of oil on foil, because we're going to bake this in the oven. You put it on top this way, or an even better trick is to put parchment paper underneath your foil, and it'll prevent sticking as well. All right, so here we go. We got we got more of these noodles. What do we do with them, right? Well, let's make another round tray of lasagna, and let's make some roll-ups. I got 3 noodles. I'm going to coat them with some of that ricotta, some of the basil and parsley, meat sauce, and you just roll those up. These are great. They have all the flavor and taste of lasagna, and they're a lot easier. So I just wanted to show you what you could do, kind of like with those leftover bits you have, because you might have a little bit more sauce, ricotta. You probably have more noodles. And there it is, looking good. And sauce on top. Some pecorino. And mozzarella. It has all the ingredients of a standard lasagna. So a little oil on that foil too, and just put it right on top. I'm going to do 375 Fahrenheit for 45 minutes. You're going to keep it covered up until the end, where you can pull it off for the last 10 or 15 minutes to get that really crispy edge, which is the best part. And I know you want to eat it right away, but don't. Let it rest for 30 minutes. It'll be a lot better.